Hello everyone! How to find your inner fight and persevere through post-concussion. We want to share these tips with you today, so stay tuned to our show to find out all these tips.
Yes.
I'm Lisa Khera from Imbalance Pilates.
And I'm Karen Monet from Opticom Visual Stress Solutions.
So thanks for joining us today.
It is a beautiful day. We're happy to be here. We always look forward to what we're going to share with our audience, with you here today. We have a really good time, probably about a half an hour before we even sit down, and we go through it all and we laugh and we have personal stories, and just to hone it down into what we can share with you today. And so today it's perseverance and flexibility.
Yes.
Now those are two words that you're probably asked to be very often. Persevere, just do it. You have to be flexible, you have to be ready to change.
You've probably heard it in your doctor's office many times, you know, accept this new normal, accept this new circumstances, new life, new everything.
Yeah, and that can be really hard to face. It's not really in our nature to change. Change is hard. But I wanted to share with you a story because every day when I'm working on my job or I'm walking, I often think about, how can I share that? What kind of helpful insight can I give to our audience, to people who are suffering from visual stress or concussion or any of the brain injuries? Mm-hmm. So it was almost just over a year ago that a tornado blew through Ottawa. That tornado was devastating. It ripped up homes and trees and houses and schools. It was a disaster. It really made a mess. Fortunately, I don't think nobody died from it, which when you look at what went through the city, it's hard to believe. So I was walking out in the forest behind the house. Now I back on a forest, and the tornado touched down, took roofing tiles off a neighbor's house, touched down again in the back forest just about 100 meters behind us, and it touched down again. It was just jumping all the way until it finally did its devastation. And I was out back there right after it happened, and I saw a lot of the trees, huge old growth forest trees, had been knocked down, bent over. I mean, it was really, the ground was pulled up. It was really quite a mess. And I thought, oh my gosh, those trees, it's so sad. They're all dead. They're destined to just to die because of what's happened. About 4 or 5 months later, the following spring, summer, which was this year, I was out there and I couldn't believe how much growth there was on these trees. These trees were bent, cracked, broken, and they were surviving, they were persevering. And I took actually pictures. I wanted to show you because I want to make this point that this is Mother Nature, and we as humans are a part of that Mother Nature. And by being flexible, by persevering through whatever struggles we've had, we can continue to grow and be beautiful. So I'm just going to put up these pictures here. This one shows a tree that's basically knocked over right on its side, but at the top of the tree there's a whole bunch of growth. And right beside that tree is this one. And this tree is fully bent over all the way down to the ground. That tree will never be upright again. It is forever changed. But that does not mean that it will not be a beautiful tree still. I've seen trees like this in the forest that have been bent over. Now they're not broken, they're just bent. There's a song about that, I think. And they end up sprouting roots from the side of the trunk and becoming trees.
Making new things, new beauty.
Yeah. So I saw this and I thought, I have to share this with these concussion survivors, because yes, your life has changed. Yes, you may be going down a different path. You may become something different. That doesn't mean that something different won't be wonderful and beautiful. And you do have the strength, like Mother Nature gives all of us, to persevere.
But it isn't always easy.
No,
and you
do
have to find your fight. Like it is like a full-time job to find your fight, to actually decide that you are going to wake up and commit to, how can I feel a bit healthier, a bit happier, a bit more, right? It's like a constant battle. And we were speaking earlier about, you know, some of the things that I went through during that time, and some of the things that I had to miss out on, some of the things that I lost in terms of my business. And I'd said that the saying, there are so many times where I really did feel like I was hanging on by a thread, like literally hanging on by a thread. And, having for me, my biggest sanity saver and biggest way that I was able to accept and persevere and all that was definitely by far 100% hands down personal development. So whether it's listening to a podcast, listening to an audiobook, for so many of us, we're not able to get back into reading as easy. But being able to listen to something, and I tell you, even now to this day, and I'm saying this, and I know it's a personal thing, but I can't imagine where my mind would be and where my level of depression and all that kind of stuff would be if I didn't fill my space in those times with personal development. How can I be better? How can I be happier, feel more joy, all the things.
You said this to me too. I feel like sometimes like I'm just hanging on by a thread, and you'd said that, but my response to you was, so all of these things you're doing, this personal development, these videos you watch, these podcasts you listen to, you're making that thread stronger so you can hang on. It's going to keep you going. It's giving you some extra power to keep moving, to persevere.
Definitely. And to keep finding your purpose. And I mean, I've always said in the book that I was a part of, Women Who Inspire, my main mantra and that was, this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. And I knew at the very beginning I had to hold on to that, develop that mantra right away, because I knew I was going to lose my business. I knew there was no way I could keep that going.
So that's like those trees, your business crashed,
burn.
But you found a way to take all of those strengths you have, the knowledge you have, the background, your experience, the people around you. You've used all of that to pivot into something different.
Exactly.
And that something different is great. It's not something you may have done otherwise.
No, and I would say too that as I've been a Pilates instructor for 19 years. Before this concussion, I never would have thought I would have been able to say I'm a best-selling author. But being in the book, Women Who Inspire, we did get it to best-selling author. So being able to, the whole cliche, make lemonade out of lemons. It's so true. And it's not that, you can diminish and just sprinkle fairy dust on everything and like everything's sunshine and roses. But the magic in personal development, in gratitude, like having gratitude, and that's our second point. So personal development is number one for your perseverance and flexibility. Personal development, hands down. If you need resources or podcasts or our favorite things, we will gladly get you lots of lists. Some of ours are all business related, but they're still life lesson related as well.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about in the beginning too. As I said, I feel bad sometimes because my experience comes from starting a business. That is really hard. It's really exhausting. It's really challenging. Some people will help you the wrong way. Some people won't help you. Some people will tell you, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep going. Do what you were doing. Why would you want to do this? Well, some of those things, like we're talking about going for help, the idea is if you're going to grow, if you're going to persevere, you can't do it.
You can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone.
No.
And
took me a long time to realize that.
And not many people are going to come to you and offer you help. You have to go out and find the help. So the first thing is if you go out and you find a therapist or some kind of healthcare provider or something, and it's not making a difference, keep going, persevere, ask for a second opinion, ask around, get other people to help you. So that's important. And for me, for my business, I'm going to Invest Ottawa. I'm going to companies and places that will help guide me. They'll give me a framework for which I can move forward. And I think that's something that these podcasts and videos do, is they give you a framework. They're not going to tell you you have to do A, B, and C. They're going to say, here's a framework of the kinds of things you should look at doing, and here's to help you, your map. Here's a map to help you get from A to Z, and they help you, telling you can get there, but you have to use these tools to move forward.
Our next tip with that is gratitude, and we've said that in probably mostly all of our shows that we've had on, as talking about gratitude, and are saying that you can't be hateful and grateful at the same time. So taking that time to stop and write down pen to paper what you're grateful for. I always mention my mentor Danelle Delgado in her book I Choose Joy, because you're just physically writing down the 10 things you're thankful for, and your goals, like having those small wins. And on a side note, DM me if you would like to take part in a web class I have coming up on gratitude and goals. So it's mostly for like post-concussion people, but if any of you are interested, just send me a message and I can send you an invite, because it's more for my post-concussion clients, but I'm happy to include new people as well.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Okay. One thing about gratitude is it's important to track the things that go well. You can, the next day, after a big day of doing stuff, if you don't sit down, or even that night, write down all the great things that happened, the next day you're going to forget half of them. So part of gratitude is tracking. Yes.
And cheer, and which we talked about that in our other segment, cheer to heal.
Yes.
So cheering and celebrating your small wins is huge, and it's so important. And I mean, that might be, it's going to differ on where you are in your healing journey and what kind of, you know, whether you're back to work or not back to work, but taking those small wins and celebrating what you're able to do this week versus last month.
Businesses will track their progress, and they plot it on charts, and they actually have meetings that talk about, look at how we've come forward and where we're at now. That's done in a business sense, but we never do that for ourselves personally. It's when you do that that you can actually see that, wow, I was down there. I found a picture of myself doing my first trade show 7 years ago with a girlfriend of mine. I found it the other day.
Yeah.
It was one of those Facebook things that pops up, and I was like, oh wow, that was 7 years ago. I sent it to her, and she goes, look how far you've come. Awesome. And without having that picture, I wouldn't have been able to go, oh my gosh, that was then. Yeah. So really, it's really important.
And that's a great friend, and that's a friend that's a keeper, because to be able to point out when someone else is doing a great job, and just to pump other people up and cheer for others, right? It's so huge. So our next one we get to is support.
Oh yeah, that's where we were.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah. But yeah, having your support. I've said on other segments that we've had, one big thing that I really like to use is Voxer. Sometimes, so that's that walkie-talkie app. I find sometimes scheduling in calls and all the things, when you have no idea how you're going to feel tomorrow and the next day with pacing, sometimes that extra layer of having to meet someone or having to physically have a conversation back and forth can be extremely tiring. So look for ways to add support into your day that don't completely fatigue you. So if it means leaving a voice message on Facebook or a voice message on Voxer, some way to just get a little vent out, get a little something out, get a little camaraderie with someone, and just take the support. If someone's offering you help, let them help you. Yeah. I know it can
Pride
be hard.
Can get in the way often, and frustration that, I don't want to look like I need help. But really, we've talked about this before, is if you needed to have a brace or a cane or something like that to help you walk, use it, because it's going to help you walk. If you admit that, people will see that you're using that cane. It doesn't matter, I need it to help me walk. It's the same thing with going out for help in other ways. Admit that, you know what? Yeah, sure, I have a support team. Yeah, I have someone that I talk to about this. Yeah, don't feel bad about that, because those services are all out there, those people are all out there, and the purpose is to help you get better, help you recover, help you persevere.
And sometimes just not feeling alone. I had the pleasure of running into a fellow post-concussion brain friend the other day. We're both instructors in Ottawa, and just to have a moment of like this sigh of, you actually get so many things that I've been through. I actually get, without you having to say anything or me having to say anything, we have a level of getting each other, and that, you know, you just...
makes you feel less alone when you have that kind of relationship.
It really does.
Last night I was at the Ottawa Valley Brain Injury Association Gala, and mind you, it was filled with sort of personal injury lawyers and psychologists and a lot of the healthcare providers, occupational therapists and physiotherapists. They did show videos of people who have been persevering, and it's groups like this that have programs that can help. That's what all that money we raised goes to, is to the organization so that they can put on programs that can help. So you can reach out to your local brain injury association. They have group meetups, and then you're going to be with people who have gone through the same thing that you have, and you're there together to share and bring each other up.
Exactly. And I've got with my online course, Healthy Brain and Optimal Posture, we've got a good community there of, again, just people that get what we've all been going through and things that we've had to deal with, and
it's like
things that are working and things that are not working.
That's what a small business owner likes to do, is go to meetings of people who get what you're going through. So it's important to have, we all have our different groups for different things, and it's great certainly to make the time and schedule those things in to your routine.
And to feel like you can be of service to someone else. To just be there, to be a listening ear for someone else is huge for sure. Our next point this brings us to is self-awareness. So when it comes to persevering and having flexibility, having that self-awareness of what really causes you to fight, what causes you to stand up for yourself and demand better of yourself and all that kind of thing. Just having that self-awareness is huge, aside from the self-awareness of the pacing aspect of things, right? Knowing your body.
What about mindfulness too? That's that self-awareness, being mindful of you, what you need, what's going on in your life, what's happening in the moment, and then checking off all those good things that are happening so you can keep going in that direction.
Exactly. And knowing your body when you have reached that point where you have flared things up a little too much and you need to stop, get the brain break, all those kind of things, huge. And then we mentioned it before, but again, mantras, like having those mantras that you can just
like the song lyrics and
yes,
things we
the
talked
song
about.
lyrics, back to the salt and music and motivation from a couple weeks ago. And whether it's, the dry erase markers and you're writing on your mirror, the sticky notes around your house, something that causes you to feel strong and you're a fighter and you have purpose and you have life left in you and you have stuff to give to other people and ways to serve other people. Sometimes you physically need to stick that in your face to remind you. If you're at a point where you've lost a business, you've lost a job, you've lost a marriage because of this, luckily I have not, I'm amazing husband. You've lost friends, the list goes on and on. You walk into a room and you feel like you're the person that everyone's thinking you're making excuses, all these things. There comes times during all this when you physically have to write something down and see it, because the depths of kind of depression and stuff like that can be, it's apparent that it could be right around the corner, right? So there's times through all of this where we have to dig very deep to find how we can pull ourselves out. And obviously sometimes it's not always up to just us. You will need to see your doctor and get medical help if you're,
And what lessons have you learned from that perceived failure?
Yes.
If something happens negative, okay, what was the trigger to that? Was it just my negative thinking going in? Was it because I had an interaction that I didn't enjoy? How can I avoid that next time? Was it the length of time that I went? Could I have gone for a shorter period of time?
Yeah.
What was it that made that fail?
Yeah.
And what can you change next time so it doesn't fail? Rather than saying, I'm just not doing that again. Do it differently.
Exactly.
Do it differently. Persevere. Keep going back until you figure out what it is. And this is actually getting into going back to work. A lot of people, when they get back to work, they just go in and boom, they're whammed, and they have to be off for another few days. What was it about going back to work? Overall it's the whole thing, but was it the interaction with the people? Was it the noise? Was it the lights?
Yeah.
Try and
pinpoint. Was it the drive there? Was it something in the visual? Was it just your
Probably
anxiety?
all of that. So how can you reduce some of those things so that affront when you get back to the office is so bad? So you have to persevere in that, because you want to be gainfully employed, hopefully, unless you pivot and you do something well, hopefully you're employed by that something else, but unless you really have to persevere to get through that, and it can be very difficult, but there are solutions, there are things you can change.
And seriously, if you have something coming up huge that you really want to go to and you just need a little like cheerleading, seriously, message me. I will cheerlead for you, because sometimes we just need that support to say, you know, I've got this big thing coming up, I really want to get there. I just having someone else, knowing that someone else is like, I'm rooting for you, right?
Well, and in your progress, you've gone from not being able to do things to being able to do them differently. And now you've said to me sometimes, I'm really surprised at myself about how well I did at that event, because I'm getting better, but I'm also learning how to do events differently.
Yep. And even on, you know, on this past Sunday, I went to an event at someone's house, like someone that I didn't know. I was invited somewhere else. And it was several hours at this house, right? And I didn't know the people. And I've noticed lately I'm getting a bit busy. There's times in the evening when I still don't spit my words out correctly. And I can, it's odd because you'll feel your mouth trying to say the right word, but it's just not coming out. Okay. Anyone on here that's been through it knows exactly what I mean. And in times like that, sometimes you're a bit picky and choosy about who you're around, right? If it's a brand new person that, you know, I don't go place and say, I've had a blah, 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 this is me. That's just me. Everyone's different. But it really makes you, pick and choose, right? But knowing that, you know what, I did it anyways. You know, certain things you just have to decide, I'm going to do this thing. I might feel a little uncomfortable. But as they all say, you grow when you're outside of your comfort zone, right? So we do need to at times push ourselves, and not push ourselves to the point of having a pacing nightmare, but meaning, you know, take those baby steps. Even if something didn't work out a couple weeks ago, as you said, try it a bit differently next time, modify, and
persevere, be flexible, look at ways that you can make change when you can't control everything that's around you, and hopefully that'll lead to success.
Yeah. So is that all for today?
I think so.
Yes. I have some upcoming online Pilates classes coming up, so feel free to get in on those if you want any more information. I was somewhere recently on the weekend, and they were saying how one of the people that was employed there just recently got glasses from Ottawa, and they were starting with paper. And it was very nice to see an employer, a boss, so supportive.
Oh, good.
And happy to see their employee getting back into the swing of things, and happy to help modify for them. So cheers to people like that out there. We need more people like that are understanding and there to help people modify and help out.
One of our new initiatives here at Opticom, now we're a small business that brings in the tools and the technologies to help identify all those visual perceptual processing issues, the light sensitivities, sound sensitivities, and everything that goes with that sort of post-concussion vision issues. Visual stress crosses all neurological and neurodevelopmental. So it's not just concussion here, that's what we're talking about, but I presented to the Lyme Disease Association on Tuesday night, the Stroke Association. There are so many different neurological conditions that suffer from the same visual perceptual processing and light sensitivity difficulties that people with concussions do, that our newest initiative is we're going to be starting up an association for visual stress across the country. And that is going to be a big project, and the idea is to get the awareness of what the condition is out in front of the employers, the lawyers that I was out with last night who are helping people with personal injury and car accidents, in front of the case managers and nurses at the insurance companies, WSIB and stuff, so that the community understands that now this is a component of post-concussion that you're all dealing with, but it's something that's common among many different other neurological conditions, and the healthcare, education, and employment individuals, businesses need to understand that this is something that's impacting. So going back to work and being hit with the fluorescent lights and the screens, it's unfair to expect that.
And we have a whole episode coming up on basically how to get your employer to understand things a little bit better.
And your coworkers.
And your coworkers and all the people. But anyways, so thank you so much thanks for
keeping us doing this.
Yes,
she's the driver
awesome,
behind this.
awesome.
I enjoy being here, and there are lots of other things we could all be doing, but we're very, very happy to have the chance to be here and share what we've learned and what we might be able to, what we can offer to help you with your recovery and your rehabilitation.
Exactly. So remember, share this out if you got any value from it, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can hit the red bell button and subscribe to our channel. That would be amazing. And yeah, let us know if there's any topics you'd love for us to cover. And until next time, it's Lisa from Imbalance Pilates.
And Karen from Opticom Visual Stress Solutions. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.